Okay, stupid question. Have you ever looked at your net worth or your expenses or even your bank account for the day and just felt annoyed? That typically happens when financially you want to go this way, but then when you check your finances, you realize you're going the complete opposite of what you want to be at. There's plenty of content out there, especially on platforms like this, that tell you about budgeting and how it can benefit you financially, which is obvious and great, but there's not a lot of content out there that tells you how it can make you feel and how it can benefit you mentally. Especially when you deal with any form of anxiety, one of the last things you need is for finances to be a stress factor. So with that being said, I wanted to make this video about budgeting and use a specific budgeting example that I like to use. Hopefully it can be a solution to not only your financial health, but your mental health. Let's get started. So what is budgeting? The phrase budgeting went from one of those super boring, why do I have to always hear about this word when I was a little bit younger, to why didn't anyone teach me about this sooner as I got older? The purpose of budgeting is to have a spending plan. That's literally what the definition is. Not only will budgeting give you more of an understanding on where your money is coming from, but more importantly, it's going to give you more of an understanding of where your money is going on a daily, weekly, and even monthly basis. And my personal favorite budgeting strategy is called the 50-30-20 rule. So the 50-30-20 rule breaks your spending into 3 different categories and gives you ideal limits on each of those categories based on your after-tax income. The 50% part is your needs, aka if you didn't have these, the level of inconvenience it would gain in your life would be super high, potentially death, which is not funny. It's literally the truth. This will consist of things such as food and water, stuff that's vital to our being, gas if you're traveling to and from work, and important recurring bills, keyword important. That can range from rent if you're leasing out an apartment or a house, mortgage if you own the house, a car note for that vehicle, auto insurance, medical insurance, healthcare, anything relative to that. The 30% are your wants. These are things that if you didn't have them in your life, it would be inconvenient, but not as inconvenient as your needs. That consists of going out to eat at a restaurant or getting fast food, getting the new clothes or the new shoes. Anything entertainment related, whether it's going to the movies, going to a concert, to an amusement park, getting the new and hot electronic item, or going on vacation, something like that. And the 20% is your savings. That's more future oriented. So things such as your 401k, your traditional or your Roth IRA, having liquidated money into a high yield savings account preferably, which is really beneficial because you definitely want something for emergencies or for a rainy day, and you definitely want to build up towards anywhere between 6 months to a year's worth of expenses, just in case you get into a position where you're not making any money. And of course, that 20% could go towards investments, whether you're investing into mutual funds, individual stocks, and even cryptocurrency. The ultimate thing is creating a budget allows you to understand more of where your money is going. Not only will it help you have full notice of the important things you have to spend your money on, but the pattern of unimportant recurring things that you're spending really start to come to life. With that, you create more opportunities to get rid of some of those unnecessary purchases, whether it's the new clothes or the new shoes, or you're at least minimizing the amount of transactions you're doing that go into that wants category. Also, whenever you write down where your money is going and where your money is coming from, it enables you to create a strategy to be able to budget for those certain wants, like a vacation, for example. Because when you finally get a chance to buy it, you know that all the rest of your money goes to where it needs to go and that you can actually afford it because you've been budgeting for it. For me personally, using the 50-30-20 method has helped me put my money towards more important things such as my savings accounts, my certain debts like my credit card debts, and just my overall future in general. It's also motivated me to find more ways to have more money, whether it's getting rid of those unnecessary payments or transactions, minimizing them, or even finding new sources of income, or in my case, all 3. But I'll be completely honest with you guys, the idea of putting pen to paper and actually writing out my budgets and being consistent with them only started a few months ago for me. Now, I've been tracking things like my net worth since May of 2019. That's around the same time I actually started investing. But for me, calculating my net worth is more so the cover of the book, whereas budgeting and seeing how you're doing every single month is like the pages inside of the book. So even though I've only started budgeting a few months ago and being really strict with it, it's actually helped me not only financially, but it's really helped me with my mental health. Now, I've mentioned in the previous video that just like the majority of us out here, that thinking about finances are one of the things that can trigger my anxiety, especially when I don't have a good hold of it, especially when I'm thinking about things in the future. Without budgeting, it really makes me feel like I don't have as much control over my finances, which is a huge part of my life, a huge part of almost anyone's life here. It definitely makes me more concerned about future or potential future expenses, and I'll occasionally sit there and think to myself, is what I'm doing going to be enough, or is it enough? And unfortunately, when you deal with some level of anxiety, you just make up things that could potentially happen in the future that could result in spending money, and you're concerned about if you're gonna have enough money for it. Plus, doing things like checking your bank account after a fun night on the town and realizing you don't have as much as you thought you would definitely could make you even more concerned about that present financial situation, and of course, more about the future. But once you actually start putting pen to paper and you understand more about what's going on with your money on a monthly basis, you finally have more of a grasp of your entire financial situation. That alone provides more clarity, because when you have more of a grasp of your financial situation, you have more control over things that you can actually control. And once you maintain control over that, it's so much easier to actually give yourself some grace whenever you want to go buy something you don't really need, like going out on vacation, going to get some new clothes or new shoes, or going to that concert, because you know that all of your bills are paid and you've budgeted for that particular one. And for me, being able to be more comfortable purchasing those particular wants is a sense of a reward and accomplishment, which for my mental health is great. And on top of that, being able to budget gives me more of a sense of financial security, that I'm more ready for whatever the future has to hold on a financial level than I was yesterday. And there's always more to do, but that alone definitely helps me with my mental health. So again, utilizing any type of budgeting strategy, including the 50-30-20 rule that I use, should definitely help benefit you, not only mentally, but of course financially. And it's definitely done that for me. However, like I said, I've been doing this only for a few months, actually putting pen to paper and writing down what I'm doing. So there's definitely a lot to learn, and hopefully throughout this journey, I'll become more financially secure and more mentally secure. But let me know how you guys feel about budgeting. Is it something you do? What rule do you use, whether it's the 50-30-20 rule or something else? And how has it affected you mentally? And obviously, how has it affected you financially? Please let me know in the comments below. And of course, I appreciate you guys watching as always. And until next time, take care.